Hola amigos, welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we love to explore all kinds of fascinating topics, but this time we're doing something a little different.
A little different.
A deep dive crafted just for you.
That's right, for Spanish speakers out there.
Who are ready to, level up their English.
Exactly.
Take it to the next level.
We're going to be diving into some of the areas that intermediate learners often find, well, a little tricky. And we've got some fun and effective strategies to share to help you sound more, confident and fluent.
Fluent, yeah. So we've got this stack of amazing materials.
A whole stack.
All about mastering English pronunciation.
Grammar.
Even using music to learn. So we're going to pull out the most valuable tips and tricks, just for you. Listos.
Absolutely. One thing that really stood out to me in these materials is the emphasis on pronunciation. It's all about mimicking native speakers and practicing out loud, even if it feels a bit strange or silly at first.
Yeah. Like, don't be shy. Let those English sounds fly. I mean, think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
When I first started learning English, I would lock myself in my room and practice for hours.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It felt so strange at first.
Right?
But it helped me get comfortable with those new sounds.
Exactly. And they even highlight those sounds that, don't really exist in Spanish, like the th sound in them or think.
That's just it.
They suggest practicing in front of a mirror, exaggerating the sound at first to really get the feel of it.
It's like tongue yoga.
Tongue yoga!
I like that.
And you know what?
What?
It works. I used to struggle with that th sound.
Really?
Oh, big time. But after practicing in front of the mirror like that, it started to feel more natural.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the individual sounds. The materials emphasize that, understanding intonation and rhythm is important too.
Oh, yeah.
This is key for making your English sound more, natural and fluent.
Think of it like music.
Yeah.
English has its own melody.
It does.
Its own flow.
A certain rhythm. Once you get that, you're speaking like a pro.
Speaking of music, I loved how they use a real example from a song.
Oh, yeah.
To illustrate some grammar points.
Cool.
Using Rihanna's song, Stay.
I love that song.
It's such a clever way to make learning, fun and memorable.
I know, right? It's like, who knew Rihanna could be our English teacher?
Right.
Music is such a powerful tool, especially when you're trying to, internalize grammar structures.
Absolutely.
It's like those catchy jingles you hear on TV.
Yeah.
They stick in your head.
They do. And this particular grammar point that they highlight using the song, it's the structure, I want someone to do something.
Okay.
It's a really common structure. But the word order can be a bit tricky for Spanish speakers.
I can see that, yeah. Because in Spanish we say, quiero que hables inglés.
Right.
But in English, it's, I want you to speak English.
Totally flipped.
It's totally flipped. It can be confusing.
It can be. But the materials actually give you this handy little trick. Think of it as, I want plus person plus to plus verb.
Boom. Just like that. It's easy to remember.
Exactly.
And you know what else?
What?
Rihanna's song. It fits perfectly.
It does.
I want you to stay. See?
Yeah.
It all comes together.
It does. And that brings us to another point that causes confusion for some Spanish speakers. The difference between meet and know.
I see. That one always trips me up.
Because in Spanish, both of those words translate to saber.
Right. It's all about context.
Exactly. Meet is for that first encounter, like, nice to meet you.
Okay.
While know implies familiarity over time.
So, like, I've known her for years, right?
Exactly.
So if you accidentally tell someone, nice to know you, when you're first meeting them, it could be a bit awkward.
A little bit. So it's really important to pay attention to those subtle differences in meaning.
Wow.
And the best way to do that is to
Practice.
Exactly.
And have fun while you're doing it.
Absolutely. Now, are you ready to delve into the fascinating world of conditional tenses?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Conditional tenses, here we come.
These are essential for expressing those what-if scenarios in English.
Ooh, what-if scenarios. I like it.
So let's dive in. Okay, so we're diving into conditional tenses.
Okay.
Think of them as, like tools for painting different possibilities in English. They allow you to explore those what-if scenarios. Imagine, alternative realities. Express your thoughts in a more nuanced and I don't know, sophisticated way.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like having this set of brushes to create different effects in your English conversations.
I like that. Exactly. And the material breaks down these conditional tenses into 3 main types. You got your first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional, each one with its own purpose and structure.
Right. Okay. Let's break it down.
Okay.
First conditional, what's that all about?
So the first conditional, it's all about real possibilities in the present or future. It's like saying, if this happens, then that will happen. So for example, if it rains tomorrow, I'll stay inside.
Okay, so it's for things that could actually happen.
Exactly. It's about those everyday scenarios where there's a clear cause and effect.
Okay.
Now, what about the second conditional?
Ooh.
This is where things get a bit more, hypothetical. Yeah. It's for those what-if scenarios that are, unlikely or maybe even imaginary. It's like saying, imagine if this were true, then that would happen.
Right.
For example, if I won the lottery, I would travel the world.
So it's for those dream scenarios.
Exactly. Or, those nightmare scenarios, depending on what you're imagining. Mm-hmm. It allows you to explore those possibilities, even if they're not, very likely to happen.
Right.
And then finally, we have the third conditional.
Ooh, third conditional. What kind of time-traveling magic does this one offer?
It takes us back in time. It's for talking about hypothetical situations in the past, things that didn't actually happen. It's like saying, if this had happened, then that would have happened.
Oh.
So for example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the test.
Ay, caramba. That one's a bit bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like looking back on the past.
Right.
And imagining how things could have been different.
It is. But it can also be, a valuable tool for learning from our experiences and maybe making different choices in the future.
It's amazing how these conditional tenses, allow us to express such a range of possibilities in English. It's like having this secret code for unlocking different levels of meaning.
It is. And the material provides a ton of examples and practice sentences to help you get comfortable with each structure. They even encourage you to, create your own sentences.
Oh, great.
Which is a fantastic way to make it more, personal and relevant to your own life.
That's a great tip. The more you practice, the more natural these things become, right?
Absolutely.
And hey, don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way.
No, not at all.
That's how we learn.
Right, exactly. Mistakes are just proof that you're pushing yourself, trying new things. In fact, the materials emphasize that, embracing those little slip-ups, it's all part of the journey to fluency.
I love that.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off, right?
It does.
It's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about communicating your ideas.
Right.
Connecting with others.
Speaking of connecting with others, the materials also highlight the importance of, mastering certain verbs that are just essential for everyday conversations. Mm-hmm. And they focus on 2 verbs in particular that can be tricky for Spanish speakers.
Ooh, which ones?
You guessed it, meet and know.
Those tricky twins. Mm-hmm. They're so easy to mix up, especially since they both translate to saber in Spanish.
Right. But in English, they have very distinct meanings and they're used in different contexts.
Right.
So remember, meet is for that first encounter. That initial introduction, like, it was great to meet you at the party last night. Yeah. And know is for when you're, familiar with someone, you've spent time with them, shared experiences. Like, I've known her since we were kids.
I've known her since we were kids.
Exactly. And the materials, they suggest this really simple trick to help you remember the difference. Think of meet as meeting someone for the first time.
Okay.
And know as having knowledge about someone.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. And once you get that distinction down, your English is going to sound so much more, natural and confident.
Love it.
Now, are you ready to shift gears and explore some practical tips for perfecting your English pronunciation?
Vamos. Let's fine-tune those English sounds and make them sing. So pronunciation. Let's get into it. I know some English sounds can feel like, real tongue twisters.
They can.
Especially when they don't exist in Spanish. But the materials have some good tips.
Oh, yeah.
To help master those tricky pronunciations.
Absolutely. And they actually start with one that often trips up Spanish speakers.
Oh, which one?
That the sound.
The.
Like in them. Or think.
That one can be tough.
It can. It feels so different from any sound in Spanish.
It really does.
But the source material, they actually suggest a really simple exercise.
Oh.
Just try placing your tongue between your teeth. and gently blowing air out. You can even exaggerate the sound at first, like th, just to really get the feel of it.
It's like giving your tongue a little workout.
Exactly.
I remember doing that in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Feeling a bit silly, but it really helped.
Oh, it works. It's all about practice and muscle memory. The materials also recommend, paying close attention to how native speakers use their mouths when they make the th sound.
Okay.
Try to really mimic their movements.
It's like becoming an English sound detective.
It is.
Observing those subtle mouth movements.
Yeah. And another area where, Spanish speakers sometimes face challenges is with vowel sounds.
The vowel is...
English has a wider range of vowel sounds than Spanish.
Right.
And they can be very subtle.
Very subtle. Sometimes it's hard to even tell the difference.
I know.
Between, say, ship and sheep, or like cat and cut.
Exactly. But the materials give some helpful tips for distinguishing those tricky vowels. For example, they suggest, focusing on the position of your tongue and lips when you make the sound.
Okay.
They even have diagrams.
Wow.
To show you exactly how to shape your mouth.
It's like having a roadmap for your mouth.
It is.
And you know what else?
What?
They emphasize the importance of listening closely to native speakers.
Yes.
And trying to imitate those subtle differences.
Exactly. It's all about training your ear and your mouth to, work together.
Right.
And remember, don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
And have fun with it.
Have fun.
The more you practice, the more, natural and effortless those English sounds will become.
And you know what? Even if you don't get it perfect right away, that's okay.
Of course. It's all about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. The most important thing is to keep practicing.
Keep challenging yourself.
Keep challenging yourself.
Absolutely. Every little step you take, it brings you closer to fluency. And remember, fluency isn't about sounding exactly like a native speaker.
Right.
It's about, communicating your ideas effectively.
And confidently. You got to have that confidence.
No, true.
It's about embracing your own unique voice while at the same time mastering the nuances of English. And, the materials really hit on this point.
Mm-hmm.
Learning a language, it's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
It's a lifelong journey.
It's about enjoying the process, celebrating those small victories, and never giving up.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to all you amazing Spanish speakers out there who are, on that journey to English fluency.
Yes.
Keep exploring, keep practicing.
And keep having fun with the language.
Absolutely.
We're here to cheer you on every step of the way. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you for joining us today on English Learning Podcast. I want to congratulate you for taking the time to improve your English. Every step counts, so keep moving forward and don't stop. If you enjoyed this content and want to learn more, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so we can keep creating videos like this. Let us know in the comments what level of English you're at and what topics you'd like us to cover in the next episode. Also, check out the links in the description for additional resources to help you keep advancing. See you in the next video. And remember, English Learning Podcast is here to help you reach your English goals. Keep learning.